I'm innocent, and we will prove that very, very soundly and hopefully very quickly. Thank you very much.
In a first for the country, a former president has been indicted by a federal grand jury. That is according to ABC News sources and Donald Trump. The former president says he was summoned on federal charges connected to his handling of classified information while out of office.
ABC News says Trump's facing at least 7 charges, including conspiracy to obstruct justice. Jim's joining us now with some of those details. Jim?
Yeah, good morning, Haley and Eric. We're continuing to learn more and more about these indictments from the 2 main sources that you just mentioned, ABC News and the former president himself, who has been posting about this on his social media page. Now, we should note that the federal government has stayed silent on this indictment of former President Donald Trump for the most part. He's now expected to appear in a Miami federal courtroom coming up on Tuesday. Now, last year, the FBI was granted a federal search warrant for Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort after Trump neglected a subpoena to turn over classified documents that he took with him after he left the White House. The FBI says that it found more than 100 classified documents at the resort. ABC News reports say that Trump could face up to 7 charges ranging from willful retention of national defense information to conspiracy to obstruct justice, all the way to corruptly concealing a document or record. Now, Trump's arraignment is set for this coming Tuesday. And this is the second indictment for Trump and the first federal case. In April, he pleaded not guilty to falsifying business records in New York. But ABC News contributors have said that the New York case almost needs to take a secondary approach or a back seat to this most recent indictment because of how serious the indictment actually is. Eric, Haley?
Jim, thank you so much. Now, this is just one battle of many the former president is facing. In March, he was criminally charged in New York on 34 counts of falsifying records and bribing adult film star Stormy Daniels with hush money. He pleaded not guilty to all those charges. Then in May, the former president was found to be liable of sexual abuse in a civil case brought by columnist E. Jean Carroll. He's also facing another investigation by the Department of Justice related to his role in the January 6th attack on the Capitol. In Georgia, he's facing a similar investigation into his alleged efforts to overturn the 2020 election. We're going to continue to follow the story as it develops. You can get notifications sent straight to your phone when Trump's current indictment becomes unsealed by downloading the WHAS11 app.
Now to more local news. A new bill proposed in Frankfort would strengthen the charges in drug overdose deaths in Kentucky, potentially even charging someone with murder. An interim committee heard testimony from law enforcement about that bill yesterday. Right now, police can charge someone with manslaughter if they provide drugs that lead to a deadly overdose. This new proposal would allow for a murder charge. The police chief in Richmond said his department has charged about 15 people with manslaughter in connection to overdoses, but said parents of victims want more.
But I can only imagine how the parents feel when we tell them that the individual that caused their baby's death can only be charged with manslaughter and not murder. They just can't comprehend why it's any different.
That bill was originally filed during the last legislative session. Supporters hope it'll be discussed again next year. The Shively police officer under investigation for speeding is now facing 20 counts of speeding, more than 100 miles per hour. And police say he had his 3-year-old child in the car with him in almost half of the cases. Shively police say they launched a criminal and internal investigation immediately after a civilian filed a complaint against Officer William Boers. The officer was issued a criminal summons and will be required to appear in court. He's now on paid administrative leave.
The death of 12 horses this spring at Churchill Downs has prompted the racetrack to finish off the season at another track 2 hours away. Our Focus investigative team has been digging into these issues, the injuries, and the discussions surrounding the deaths. Of the 12 deaths, 9 were due to broken bones and catastrophic leg injuries. And while the investigation continues, Churchill Downs is investing in new technology aimed at preventing catastrophe. This is called a PET machine. Officials say it can scan horses and detect issues before they become really big problems like leg fractures.
We are learning how to identify those lesions prior to a catastrophic injury happening. For the first time ever, we're able to identify that lesion before it becomes a fracture line.
According to Churchill Downs' medical director, the PET machine costs somewhere between $750,000 to $1 million. Tonight, our Focus team is taking a look at the next steps for Churchill Downs. Make sure to tune in at 6 right here on WHAS 11.
The size of the Louisville Metro Police Department's budget is under community-wide scrutiny. Last night, discussions continued at Metro Hall, reviewing the city's $1.1 billion budget and Metro Police's slice in that. WHAS 11's Connor Steffen and photojournalist Ian Hardwick detail the changes council members want to see made.
Good morning. It was here that LMPD's top two leaders fielded a flurry of questions for Metro Council's Budget Committee discussing its $222 million proposed budget for the 2024 fiscal year.
I see a note that we got as a committee.
I'm thinking about that is
That was
because
very impressive.
How and when?
So tell us a little bit about the recruitment strategy and why you think this is going to help.
we have been aggressively working towards our recruitment efforts.
Still falling short of filling its 292 department vacancies, LMPD plans to use $1 million of its proposed budget on recruiting. They want to use $200,000 of that to pay an outside firm with marketing expertise to execute its hiring strategy.
If you don't hit the hiring goal, do you have any other strategies that is going to help reduce crime? Being present, being visible, and being accessible.
Building trust becomes even more important as LMPD prepares to negotiate reforms with the Department of Justice.
As you know, we were previously funding the majority of the response to the Department of Justice through the ARP funds.
Some of those American Rescue Plan dollars will roll over into the 2024 budget, but they won't fund all the reform efforts. We still don't know yet what costs will look like under a consent decree. However, we do know LMPD will spend millions on creating new positions, including new police academy training jobs, civilian investigators, and specialists tasked with reviewing search warrants. In Louisville, Connor Steffen, WHAS 11 on your side.
Metro Council also discussed LMPD's new headquarters, wellness center, and funding for security cameras, drones, and some other technologies. For a more detailed breakdown of those things, you can just head to our website, WHAS11.com.
Colleen, the poor air quality continues here in Kentucky.
I know. Another day with some hazy conditions. There is hope for the weekend. I'll show you what the models are trending and what we can expect for your weekend coming up here in 10 minutes. Good morning, Sam. What's that one thing we should know about traffic?
Hey, Colleen. Good morning. You know, we are still watching 64 westbound being shut down due to a construction project that's taking place to Story Avenue. I'll let you know much more, including the full detoured routes coming up here in a couple of minutes.